I think most of you guys, you owe Dodge an apology. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to open up a little invites here. Let's see what we've got in the mail. Oh, it's from Dodge. We cordially invite you to come drive the all-new top secret replacement for the Challenger. It's a standard all-wheel drive, 670 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds, quarter mile in 11.5 seconds, state-of-the-art technology, driver-focused cockpit, just as loud from a decibel level as the outgoing Hellcat. 132% more cargo capacity, more rear legroom than the outgoing four-door Charger. If you got that in the mail, you would definitely sign up for that drive, right? But most of you say no. There is an absolute ton of negativity on the EV Charger. On paper, the stats blow away any Hemi motor. It's a throwback to the old Charger, even brings back the old badging, but no one wants to be positive about it. And Dodge is telling us it stings a little. Today we are talking about Dodge vocalizing the feedback that they're getting on the EV Charger. It's not positive, and they say it stings, and we should owe them an apology. Well, they don't say we owe them an apology, but maybe we should. So let's talk about some of my experiences. Let's talk about some of the things that are happening. And we're going to even talk about my conversation personally with Matt McClear regarding this vehicle. So we're part of a group called the Midwest Automotive Media Association. And a few months back in September, October, we had the opportunity to see a revealing of the new Charger EV. Revealing might not be the exact term, but they brought it. It was the first time that many of us saw it in person. For that matter, it was the first time many of the Stellantis employees that were actually there were able to see this vehicle in person. They showed off the Fratzonic exhaust. They showed off pretty much everything besides driving the car. When Matt McClear did the presentation of the vehicle, he talks about Dodge basically starting a new category for an EV muscle car, sports car, whatever you want to call it. Down to the fact that they're trying to create an iconic sound for an electric muscle car. Think about it, there isn't one. Really isn't even an iconic sound for an EV. Jeep has its own sound in the 4xe. Blazer sure is, Chevy sure has their own sound, but there's nothing that you're like, oh, that's an EV and I know what it is. So Stellantis, Dodge, they're trying to come up with a sound. You're like, that was an EV muscle car. So whether you like it or not, EVs are here. The relaxation on the EV mandate is definitely a thing. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But let's rewind. Everyone bashes. And I will tell you, we did a review on this car, and I had the opportunity to drive it. I had people follow me home. I had people stop me in parking lots. I had multiple people stop me to see this thing. And not one of them was a negative comment. Some people are like, I'm not sure it's for me. That's okay. But not one of them was a negative comment. Kind of boils down to if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Well, everyone's got internet muscles nowadays. And bash. So let's talk about that for a second. So I've seen comments like, let's bring back the SRT8. Let's bring back this. Let's bring back that. Can you imagine if we're still making vehicles with the technology from the SRT8? The SRT8 last was produced in 15 years ago. Stellantis would be getting bashed if they're still producing vehicles that had technology from 15 years ago. Everyone says, let's go old school. The Hemi, you still got people bashing the Hemi. Oh, it weighs too much. No matter what these car manufacturers do, everyone always seeks negativity. We were just at the Chicago Auto Show and had many conversations with different manufacturers. Very cool part. I actually had some time to spend with senior brand manager of Jeep. I got to spend some time with one of the design managers. We talked a little bit about this new design, new technology, and we had this conversation about what Dodge just posted, about some of the negativity, and how it's most of these people that are giving the negativity are the people that won't even give this thing a second look or give it an opportunity. I'm telling you, I am not a full EV guy. I'm not here to jam it down your throat. I don't know if I'm personally ready for a full EV, but I'm also not closed-minded to it. If you watch our other video, we'll post a link here. We talk about living with an EV and how you just need to change your mentality. But we have these people that are just so focused on gas, they can't see out of their own lane. How about diesel trucks? You're not a diesel truck driver, you buy a gas one. Well, how about if you're not an EV driver, you buy the gas one? We already know the gas version's coming out, so why are we bashing the EV? You have choices, right? You have options, so don't bash it. And most people who are bashing it have probably never even seen one or even stepped foot in one. I'm telling you, if you drove this thing, might change your opinion. I actually drove a Tesla the other day at the Chicago Auto Show. I was with a buddy of mine, my neighbor, completely anti-EV. And he got out of the thing and said, I really want to hate it because it's an EV, but I don't. Opened his mind just a little bit. Now he's just at least, maybe there's a fit for it, or maybe I can understand why. So we also did a review on this car, we just said, and there's a lot of comments, a lot of positive ones. And as you expect, there's plenty of negative ones. There's one that stuck out to me, and it's something along the lines of great review from someone who's reviewing it from like a normal buyer's perspective, right? Not reviewing it from someone who is, I can only buy an EV and I'm EV this and I'm EV only. And I'm not reviewing it from the perspective of I will never step foot in an EV and I hate EVs and they are the devil, right? I'm here. And so it's interesting because I feel like, again, we already talked about this side who, if you're never going to look at an EV, that you're hard to even get your opinion. And then you got this side who says, well, it's an EV, but it doesn't have the range, or, well, it's an EV and it's this, but you know, the Tesla is almost the same power. Okay. But your Tesla is a Tesla. This is a statement, right? This is something different. This isn't Tesla. This is something that's got some style to it. This is something that's got it stands out, right? You're making a little bit more of a statement. That's the market that they're going for, right? Same with Hellcats. You see a Hellcat on the road, it's sure the guy who buys the V6 Challenger or Charger, he's not a Hellcat guy, but that Hellcat guy's making the statement. It's just a little different. Let's also realize that Stellantis is listening. I think we've seen a ton of positive change since Tavares left. Facts are facts, right? I also am reading that V8 is no longer a swear word around campus, if you will, with Tavares being gone. I truly think you're going to see a V8 back in this car. Now, here's the funny part. Mark my word. You're going to put a V8 back in this car, and they're going to have it available as a Hemi, the 6-pack, or an EV. I almost guarantee you the V8 is not the top vehicle sold. Everyone's going to cry about it and say, we need the V8, we need the V8. Mark my word, it won't be the top engine choice on this vehicle. It won't. I'd be shocked if I'm wrong. If you really stop and look at the specs of this thing, in this invitation that we jokingly started with, are truly the specs of this EV car. If they left out the fact that this was an EV, I'm going to read this again. Standard all-wheel drive, 670 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds, quarter mile in 11.5 seconds, state-of-the-art technology, driver-focused cockpit, just as loud decibel engine noise as the outgoing Hellcat. You would sign up to drive this thing, right? But the EV politics, in my opinion, have just so got in the way, but this is trying to bust through, again, my opinion, a different market. And if you're one of these people sitting there watching this being like, this guy is insane, this guy is drinking the Kool-Aid, how much are they paying this guy to, like I've seen all the comments, right? How much are they paying this guy to do these reviews? That's not it. I'm not fully ready for a full EV. We have the 4xe hybrid and love it, but I'm not against it and I'm not closed-minded. And when I did this review, I went into it mostly on this side, not ready to like it and maybe trying to nitpick it. But as you get in it and you drive it and it feels good and there's things you just like about it. Yeah, when I first heard the exhaust with Matt McClure at the Mama event that I'm going to post his presentation about it here at the end, I was like, not so sure about this. I'm with you guys. Like, where's my Hemi noise? Change isn't necessarily bad, Are we going to go 25 years from now still having Hemi and this big exhaust noise? The instant torque on these things. Again, when you drive one, you're kind of like, man, I kind of get it. They're fast. They're instant. Like, there's almost something to be said about it in silent mode, being quiet. Like, it almost feels eerily quiet for instant speed. Drive one. You don't have to buy it. Don't just jamming it down your throat. You're going to have options, but don't bash it. You haven't even tried it. Mark my word, 99% of people out here bashing this have never sat in the seat. And if you've never seen one in person, the pictures don't do it justice. And I know there's a lot of people saying that. If you've seen it at the Chicago Auto Show, people are like, wow, this thing really looks good. Tons of comments when I drove it. People commenting at a stoplight, that thing really looks good. In fact, I had a guy next to me with a Hellcat, with a Hemi version of the Challenger, and he rolled his window down. He's like, first one I've seen in person, that looks nice. Guys, that's from an owner. Negativity always wins. I run a 4xe page. The haters hate. It kind of boils down to, if you've got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all, right? Again, I had the fortunate opportunity to talk to many of these high ups at the Chicago Auto Show within Stellantis. And both of them said, like, it kind of stings, right? It stings to people to jab you all day long on something that you work hard. And mostly because you just won't even give it a chance. I own a TRX and a 4xe. And I'll tell you what, when you push the button on the TRX and it lights up and you feel it in your chest and it's fast and it just feels good, I love it. Again, I was really anti about this driving it. And then you drive it and you got the instant torque and the exhaust noise. I'm still not 100% on it, but I'll tell you what, I was like absolutely not before I drove it. And once I drove it, I even had a buddy call me. He's like, you pulled away. Sounded actually kind of cool. Sounds unique. It's different. It's because for my entire life, all we've heard are V8s, or all we've heard is glass packs and the cherry bombs and the Flowmasters. It's different. Is it right? Is it wrong? No, it's different. And if you don't open your mind to it, you're going to be left in the back without any of this cool technology. And without this instant torque and instant horsepower. Having said that, I'm pretty sure the V8's coming back. But if you're watching this video and you've made it this far, like I've said, I think most of you guys, you owe Dodge an apology. The bashing is enough. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. If you've driven one, I certainly encourage an opinion, right? Run my 4xe page. I have people that try to join the page, and it pretty much says, why do you want to join? If you own a 4xe, come on in. I get people on this that says, I want to join because I don't own one, I'll never own one, and I'm here to bash it, in so many words. Like, no, get lost. You're not coming in here. Now, if you own one and you've had a negative experience and there's issues, well, of course, come on in. Let's talk. If you haven't owned one, I think you have no place to sit and bash it. The EV haters are strong. The EV mandate, the whole EV tsunami flush from government, whatever, it's relaxed. You're going to have choices. Again, if you were a diesel truck owner and you hate gassers, if you're a gasser and you hate diesels, who cares? Pick what one you want. We're in an age right now where there's so many different choices. So pick a choice that works for you. Don't bash everybody else and give this thing a try. I'm just going to tell you, you might just be surprised. Guys, thanks for watching. Give Stellantis a little apology because they're listening and they're on the right track. And I think there's a lot of good stuff coming. And no, I don't get paid to say this stuff. I am just a true believer of the product. I've truly loved the Dodge product. I've truly loved the Jeep product. And sure, they had a rough 2024, but they got the right people in place and they're going in the right direction for 2025. So give them an apology and give them a try. Even if it's not, this is an EV, try something. Just try it. Drive something. Check out Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Go try one. They'll let you drive one. See what you think. So give us a like, give us a subscribe. Comment below. Are you a hater? Are you just here to hate? Or have you actually driven one and hate it? Two very different things. We'll see you on the next video.
We're really excited that Matt could join us today, and he's going to give a good overview of the new Dodge Charger here this morning. When the presentation's over, we'll have a little time for Q&A, And then we'll move the Dodge Charger outside this morning, so there'll be more opportunity for content creation.
Get to do that with a gas car, so might as well take advantage of what's inside, right? Stand over here out of the sun so I can see everybody. So, thanks for coming out today. I love being back here. I started my career here in Chicago in 2000 with Daimler Chrysler at the time, which was a lot of fun. Actually, last night on the way in town, I went through the city and stopped at my old favorite Mexican hole-in-the-wall joint, and the burrito's still the same, and the chairs are still the same as it was. Taking this brand forward and really the next generation of Dodge. 110 years old this year, and in a lot of ways we're just getting started. We set out on this path to create America's performance brand about 10 years ago with the Charger and Challenger, as we were at the time really grappling with the separation from Ram in 2009, trying to figure out what the Dodge brand was going to be, what it stood for. We'd had an incredible past, but it was a little bit lost at the time. We were kind of, if you remember those days, we were selling a lot of Journeys, Avengers, and Caravans for $19,999, America's value brand versus America's performance brand. And that's when a guy that I worked with here, that some of you might remember, Tim Kaniskas, he and I worked together, lived in the city together, and had a lot of fun for a few years. And there's not a better car guy or a gearhead in the industry. And he had a great vision for what Dodge could be, and set out on that path. And we stopped pretty much advertising at the time. We still sold more Caravans and Journeys than Chargers and Challengers in those days, but we didn't advertise them. We started creating this, what we call the Brotherhood of Muscle, this persona, this bigger than life persona with scat packs and Hellcats and demons and bees flying around everywhere, and kind of this bigger than life brand that, quite frankly, didn't care if 95% of the public thought we were a little crazy. I always say Dodge is kind of like that crazy cousin that comes over at Thanksgiving, and you're like, do we want him in the house? Let's check his pockets before he leaves, let him have dinner, and get him out of here. And we're good with that. We don't have to be everything to everybody. That's the great thing about the Stellantis portfolio of brands when we go in the showroom. You look at mainstream brands out there, and I always say there's not a bad car in the industry anymore. It really comes down to passion and wants, and that's what we go after. And having Jeep, having Ram, having Chrysler that are definitive brands on their own, that they can appeal to what they do best, and we can do what we do best, and that's unapologetic power, muscle, performance, and having a lot of fun. And this car does all that. When we set out to build this car, and it's been several years in the making, we said it had to do four things. It had to look like a Dodge, had to drive like a Dodge, had to feel like a Dodge, and most importantly, had to sound like a Dodge, as you just heard. And that's what I believe the team did. But they did it in a way that is completely transformative to what the car was, but true to its heritage. A lot of people in here probably look at this, and the design team would say the 68 Charger was the inspiration for this. And a lot of you can see that in the front. And if you stand in the proportions, this looks like the General Lee jumping through the air in the back. The proportions are incredible. But it's also truly a daily driver now. Standard all-wheel drive, hidden hatch design, full flat seats, UV-like cargo capability. This vehicle has gone from kind of a niche performance car to a very fully capable, not only an EV, but a fully capable daily driver. But just like when we started out in 2013 with a couple powertrains and a couple models, and as you live through the last 10 years, we continue to evolve. We continue to expand the lineup and come out with buzz models and different performance characteristics. This is just the beginning. Next year we launch into a four-door. Second half of next year we bring out two ICE powertrains, two 6-packs at 420 horsepower and 550 horsepower. This vehicle, this platform, multi-energy platform, allows us to do things we haven't been able to do in the past. It allows us to flex with the industry. I'm excited today to be here to see all these BEVs, and I love the event that everyone here is putting on. And BEVs are the way of the future, but it's not going to happen overnight. We have to evolve. It's not going to happen at the same rate in different parts of the city, different parts of the country, different parts of the world. We're all going to evolve at different times, and that's what's great about this platform, is it allows us to flex with the changing dynamics of the industry over the coming years. And we can meet consumer demand in different parts of the country. But there's one thing that's different about how we're going to market. You know, we launched with our Halo vehicles first, and there is an SRT coming, a future Halo, but this vehicle today, this Scat Pack Stage 2, on paper, outperforms yesterday's Challenger Hellcat Retta. Quicker 0 to 60, all-wheel drive instead of rear-wheel drive, more rear seat legroom, better cargo capability, more safety, better tech, and about $10,000 less. So this is SRT level performance of the past and a Scat Pack Stage 2 today. 670 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds, instant torque, instant acceleration, and the range is actually city range 250 miles, better than the city range on the outgoing Challenger. So there's so much excitement around this vehicle. There's so much to get behind, so much fun that can be had. And this is actually my car. This is one I'm driving around back in Detroit, putting miles on. Looks a lot better than it usually does because they cleaned it up, and I'm going to make sure I bring to more events because it looks great. But there's some great things when you, and we'll get up here in a little bit, we can walk around and get in the vehicle. There's so much room in this. One of the cool things about this platform is the wheelbase is the same. And a lot of people say, wait, it's a two-door, why are you calling it a Charger? Well, the two-door and the four-door, pretty much identical other than the doors. So if you think back, the Challenger and Charger last year had a different wheelbase. So the Challenger had less rear seat leg room than the Charger. So this one, all you're compromising is egress ingress with the doors. Same rear seat leg room, plenty of capability, plenty of cargo capacity back there. So that's why it's a Charger. It was inspired off of the 68 Charger, the most iconic muscle car in history, as a lot of people say. And back to the roots, but it will be known as the two-door Charger and the four-door Charger. And then you've got the Daytona. So this is the Charger Daytona. The Daytona name is what means it's the electric version. So if it's the ICE versions, it will be the two-door Charger six-pack or the four-door Charger six-pack. And the reason we call it the Daytona is up here, this R-wing. And if you can see, the pass-through. So this vehicle was designed for performance first. In fact, this Stage 2 kit with the track pack on this Scat Pack has 305s in the front and 325s in the rear. You don't put that on a BEV car that you're trying to hype a mile and get range on. This was built for performance first, range second. But with this big block of a front end, you still have to improve aerodynamics. So where did the R-wing come from? Well, if you go back to the 69 Daytona with the Heritage R-wing on the back, or the wing at the time, the engineer, Gary Romberg, the last name with an R, was the inspiration for the wing. He worked at NASA at the time as a NASA engineer as well. That's where the team said, they came up with this notion, well, we can improve aerodynamics in the front without giving up any of the iconic look, and it actually improves the aerodynamics and helps improve range. So one of the things you'll see, other than the two-door and the four-door, the other difference between the ICE powertrains that are coming next year and the BEV powertrains is this R-wing. So if you think when we package the six-packs in here, this hood will kind of, you'll just close this off because you'll have cooling up front, you'll have more packaging for an ICE powertrain, and then you'll have the exhaust in the rear versus the Fratsonic chamber. Other than that, interior, everything identical between the lineup. So it's a very simple lineup, but we're going to have a lot of fun with it over the years, as we always do with colors and stripes and wheel packages, and we'll continue to push the boundaries. But I think the most important thing is, people talk about, well, why battery electric? Why launch with this and not the ICE powertrains? You're stepping away from V8s. Well, we pushed the limits with V8s. They were phenomenal, and they'll continue to be phenomenal. But if you're standing still, you're not going forward. You're not changing the dynamic of the industry in the future. And a lot of people say, well, yeah, but you can't give them up. Well, a few years ago, people, before we kind of created all this, they wanted a new platform. Now, so this is a Fratsonic chambered exhaust. It is an external sound system. It's also, you'll feel it through inside as well when you're driving it. But one of the things that we set out sound is such an important part of connecting with the driving experience. It's such an important part of what a muscle car is. And EVs have got a lot of discussion over the recent years of, well, should they be silent? What should they sound right? Like, if you mimicked the Hellcat V8, that's not right in a lot of people's mind. That's fake, right? So what is it? I mean, just because we've had sound that came naturally through the V8s, a lot of that was tuned with the exhaust, right? The engineers spend countless hours making that sound and the pass-by and the tip-in and the throttle inputs. That's no different than what we did here. We worked with sound engineers to come up with a unique sound that was instantly recognizable, met what the Dodge brand stands for, but it has unique undertones of a V8 firing pattern. So there's something, there's something special about it. When you hear it, you're not sure what it is. You know it's not a V8, but you know that it's exciting. It puts a smile on your face. But one of the cool things, and I changed some of the sound levels, is it allows you to turn it off. If you're going to work at 5:30, you're going to the gym, or you're going on Sunday over to your mom's house, and you don't want her to hear it, you can turn it off. You can be quiet if you need to. You have stealth mode. And then you have auto mode, which kind of is always there, and then you can go to sport mode, drag mode. We hit the power shot button for an extra 40 horsepower to pass on the highway, and it gives you some increased sound levels. So we gave you the ability in the vehicle to adjust those levels as well.
Is that inside the vehicle only, or can we hear it outside?
No, so all that stuff that you heard outside, you can hear it outside as well, and you'll hear it on the highway. In fact, the first time I was driving around the lake back at home, there were people on the other side that I was going to visit, and they heard me coming. I turned it up loud, and it went across the lake, and they came in, yeah, we heard you.